with your host, Charles Garage Ritchie, here on the Mass Steel Podcast.
This thing belongs to Mr. Roney, belongs here, and let's see if we can bring this damn thing back here next year, along with the Super Bowl. Here we go.
The game is over. The Pittsburgh Steelers did it the hard way. With the 10th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Devin Bush, linebacker,
And good evening, everybody, and welcome to this edition here of the Mass Steel Podcast with yours truly, Charles the Prodigy Ritchie, as we are kicking it right now and getting ready to get into some notable stuff here on this edition of the Mass Steel Podcast. Once again, you can catch me every Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're streaming live right now on Facebook. For those of you wanting to find the live stream, you can simply just type Men of Steel Podcast. Once on there, feel free to hit the like button on there so you can follow it. So next time when you type it up, it'll just be at Men of Steel Nation, capital M, capital S, capital N. And you can also check me out on Twitter, as you can follow me, my main Twitter handle, which is at Prodigy Ritchie. Then you can also check out my Twitter business pages, which is for the Mass Steel Podcast, at Men of Steel CJR. And then I also host a show on Chicagoland Sports Radio. That's at On Deck CSR. And then you can also check me out on Instagram, Men of Steel Nation. That's all lowercase. My YouTube channel, Men of Steel Podcast. And then you can also check me out once again, as always, on Mixcloud, where I be podcasting all my shows right to the conclusion. I'll usually try and have them about like 2-3 hours after the show has aired. If not, the latest I'll usually have it up by will be the next business day, usually coming up. So let's get ready to get into some breaking news, as we have heard earlier today, as Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette has reported. Ray Fittipaldo, once again, he can be followed on social media, on Twitter, at RayFit1. He is reporting today that Ari Burns has now joined Javon Hargrave, as they have both landed with new agent Drew Rosenhaus. This basically comes off the report, basically, as you could definitely tell. I mean, listen, Ari Burns, who's been drafted in 2016, with the Steelers, first round draft pick, they don't really have much potential with the Steelers. It's been a very frustrating experience. You would have figured in his first year he was starting off okay. But, the last few years, including this past year, he wasn't even a starter on them. And Ari Burns, who got selected back in 2016 in the first round, he was 25th overall in the 2016 draft. And I don't know how people will want to sum up Ari's career, somewhat of a disappointment, or just wasn't the right fill-in with the Steelers. I thought he had some pretty good potential, but to be honest with you, he didn't really live up to the core a lot of people were expecting him to be. He never made a Pro Bowl, was never an All-Pro. The amount of interceptions he recorded in his time with the Steelers was 4. He had a career high in his rookie season right now, as we look at. And right now I got a like on here. I got Anthony right here liking the Mass Steel Podcast. Thank you very much, brother. Welcome to the show here, as we are just kicking off right now. But yeah, I just felt like right now, you haven't had truly a lockdown corner. At this point in the Steelers' history, I mean, the only one that came really closest to a guy like Rob Woodson was probably arguably William Gay. William Gay was the guy, in my opinion, who really did enough. I mean, significantly, when you look at it, I mean, William Gay, who is currently retired, and I think he did some real decent things while with the Steelers. When you look at it, I mean, he got drafted by the Steelers when we look at in the 5th round in the 2007 NFL draft. He was a Super Bowl champion. He wasn't a Pro Bowler, but still, he had some legitimate interceptions. He finished his career with 13 interceptions, returned for 194 yards as we look at it. But, yeah, I just really feel right now, I mean, listen, I mean, no slight towards Artie, but it just wasn't really a good situation where he was trying to do. And it was just never, I guess, meant to be with the Steelers for him to be that next lockdown corner. And I just feel like the Steelers just definitely had to regroup right here and look some other options. I mean, the only guy that was probably, aside from William Gay, that played decent at covering, even though he was a safety, he was a strong safety, he was a first ballot Hall of Famer, talking about none other than Troy Polamalu, who made 8 Pro Bowls, 4 All-Pros. And that's where you look at the difference right there. I mean, someone where you want to look at in Steelers history, someone versus elite, and someone that could just take that next step. And that's just really the bottom line right here. I think Artie Burns, I mean, started off good, but he was just a guy who could not finish. So now they're with Drew Rosenhaus. I'd be interested to see what kind of what kind of momentum he'd be able to gain with Rosenhaus. I'm sure he's going to get some decent money. I'm not sure if he's going to be like the top money being paid for a corner. I mean, in his situation, when we look at it, I mean, Artie Burns right now, when we take a look at everything, where he's at, his market value, according to Spoke Track right now, it is at 1 year, $1.07 million. So obviously he's going to come on the cheap right now as we look at it. But yeah, Artie Burns, like I said, it was just very utterly disappointing, to say the least. I'm taking all phone calls right now. Phone lines are open if you guys want to call in. Please don't hesitate to dial the number. That number, again, is 312-209-2232. Again, that's 312-209-2232. Once again, you can follow me on Twitter, at Prodigy Richie, at MetaSteelCJR, at OnDeckCSR, Instagram, MetaSteel Nation, my YouTube channel, MetaSteel Podcast. And, of course, you can also find me on Mixcloud at Charles the Prodigy Richie. And let's get ready to get into some more stuff right now. Like I said, because I'll be honest, the interesting one, though, too, that I'm really concerned with, and he's not going to really stick around only because you got guys you got to pay as far as with TJ Watt and Bud Dupree. And I remember when Brian Diarlo called and challenged me on this, and I was saying right there, because I felt like that TJ Watt was more likely to get the franchise tag. But when you look at momentum, like what he was doing right now, I'm not sure if you want to get that. I think right now TJ Watt is in the position right now. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, who came runner-up? I mean, basically to Defensive Player of the Year. And yeah, I just feel like right now when we look at things here, he was not going to be the guy, I mean, that was going to get it unless he took his team to the playoffs. I mean, he had a lot of good stuff on his side. But, I mean, when you really think about it, too, I mean, he came runner-up to Stephon Gilmore of the New England Patriots, who actually got bounced in the first round to the Tennessee Titans. So I just feel like right there, I mean, that's probably the reason why he got it. I mean, more so versus TJ Watt. I think you got to look at it, too, from this perspective. You got, two guys right there who's playing with some quarterbacks right there, and Ben Roethlisberger or Tom Brady. And I just feel like right there where Stephon Gilmore got the edge, it's probably because they're doing it with a slow down Tom Brady, who's hardly got any offense built around him. It was pretty much defense that was carrying the Patriots throughout the season, where they went for that stretch where they went undefeated until they lost to the Ravens. And I believe they finished the season at 12-4, but it's all that stuff right there you got to look at, and I think that's a big reason. If the Steelers would have made the playoffs, I do maintain the stance that T.J. Watt would definitely got it. There would have been no hesitation on that. But I think, like I said, when you have Tom Brady playing with no weapons on offense, I mean, practically, I think that's the biggest reason why they would give it to him and see what happens. Again, if you guys disagree, the number that we reach is 312-209-2232. Again, that's 312-209-2232. Just find the Facebook page by typing in Men of Steel Podcast. As we look at some other stuff right now, too, some other news, too, according to Ray Fittipaldo of the Post-Gazette, the Steelers have also named right now, as we look at it, Ike Hilliard as a receivers coach. Now, Mike Hilliard right now, he spent 6 seasons as receivers coach with the Redskins, worked for the Bills and Dolphins after retiring as a player. And Ike Hilliard, just give you a little bit more background where he was at. He also, remember too, he played his career with the Giants and the Bucs in the late 90s, retired in 2008. And he had, I mean, some coaching experience, pretty much as a receivers coach. He is now going to be replacing right now the guy who came out of retirement to fill in for Daryl Drake. As we look at it, places Ray Sherman. Ray Sherman, who came in the late 90s, I think it was 98, when he was coaching up rookie Hines Ward. But as far as a little bit more information on Hilliard, I mean, right now, Hilliard helped guys like Terry McLaurin flourish. Lauren, who finished second receiving yards among rookies and tied for second in receptions. Hilliard also coached Deshaun Jackson, Jameson Crowder, and Josh Doctson right there. And like I said, I think when you look at a guy like Terry McLaurin, who's one of the guys who got mentioned on here, on this, I mean, he was a rookie who actually played with the Redskins, had 919 yards for a rookie with 7 touchdowns. Now, he didn't make any all-pro honors or anything like that, but that's where you look at with a guy like him. And right now, when we look at it, I got Ben Lopez right here commenting on here. Welcome very much, Ben, to the Men of Steel Podcast. Got him with a comment saying, away from big brain Roethlisberger, sign Phillip Rivers. You know what? In a perfect world, you would probably think so. Like, I mean, it's a wish list, I mean, for the Steelers to look into. But I'm not so sure if that's going to necessarily work out, because you still got, like, the front office banking on the fact that they don't feel like Ben Roethlisberger is done. That's going to be problem number one right there. He's still, like, the primary future quarterback in there. And my only concern is with Phillip Rivers. I mean, you've been playing in with the Chargers pretty much throughout your whole career. My only concern where I have with him, what's going to happen when the weather starts to get cold? You got to play in cold weather on a consistent basis. I mean, it's one thing when Peyton Manning does it when he comes out of the Colts and then to the Broncos, but can you really honestly see him right now at this point in time, I mean, be willing to step up his game and bring that to Pittsburgh? That's a question mark. Because remember, he's been quarterbacking there right now, I want to say since 2005. And so you've been having about 15 years of quarterback experience since being drafted in 2004 in that draft class, memorable draft class. I mean, with guys like soon to be two-time Super Bowl champions in their own right, Ben Roethlisberger and Eli Manning, the only guy out of that group not having a Super Bowl ring. And it was just really decent by it. I mean, he had a noble career, but I will say this: the biggest knock against Philip Rivers, ever since LaDainian Tomlinson has retired, he's only been back to the playoffs 2 other times, back in 2013 and 2018. I'm not sure if I want to chance a guy right now with an older quarterback, and I'm going to risk having playing in cold weather, get him exposed, and it's not going to work out. I'm not saying it won't, but I got a little hesitation when you're playing warm weather for a long time, because let's remember, too, Philip Rivers, who right now, who's also right now been, when he was drafted by the Giants in the first round, who came straight out of came out of North Carolina State. And like I said, that's very rarely cold weather when you look at it, in my opinion. When you look at everything. I just feel like right now, when you look at it and all that stuff right there, it's really interesting to see what happens right there in that regard. And like I said, I think for a guy like Philip Rivers, whenever he's been playing in cold weather, this is like since 2018, he was like a 10-6-0 guy grand total. 4-4 since LT, with LT 2-2. I think Philip Rivers, like I said, when you look at all of his career and everything, I just challenge what's going to be like in the cold if he comes over to Pittsburgh. That's my only beef with this guy. It's just what do you see? What happens in these situations? How's that going to affect him? And we'll see if that plays true or not. But again, the number, if you guys want to dial in, is 312-209-2232. Again, that's 312-209-2232. As we look at everything right now, this is the Mass Steel podcast, streaming off live right now on my Facebook page, Mass Steel Podcast. And, of course, my Instagram stream, which is Mass Steel Nation, YouTube channel, Mass Steel Podcast. When we look at everything right now, as we get ready to finish down here in the final stretch, as we look at all of it, for this moment in time, those are the only concerns, like I said, right there. This guy who actually had, at the end of the 2018 season, he had like about 11 victories, in this. But like I said, the Chargers right now, since they decided to move on from Philip Rivers, not really so much of a surprise move, but it was definitely a surprise nonetheless. And I just feel like right now, when you got a guy who's moved in Florida, is going to be the guy for the Dolphins right now. Right here, for Philip Rivers, how's that going to fare with everything? And I'm not so sure. This guy, like I said, lifetime playing in cold weather, outdoors, like I said. This guy's 11-8. I just see him doing that on a consistent basis. I would be very, very interesting and a little bit concerned about how he would be able to do that day in, day out. Also, right now, too, let's get ready to pay some respect and homage. On this day, 4 years ago today, it was officially announced by Heath Miller and the Steelers he has retired. And speaking of which, right now, as we look at it, the Steelers under Kevin Colbert, they really got a legitimate help within the tight end position overall in their franchise history. You've only had one guy out of 10 tight ends that have been drafted other than Kevin Colbert that have been Pro Bowlers. And guess who all those Pro Bowlers were earned by? None other than Heath Miller. He's the only tight end that's been drafted in the 20-year career of Kevin Colbert, who's been a Pro Bowl tight end, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and a 2-time Pro Bowler. Never an All-Pro, but I think right now. I also got another comment here coming from Ben Lopez. Hire a decent offensive coach. Yeah, I would think so. But then again, that's why we got Matt Canada there right now. The only thing I will say to that right now, how much is that going to help? I mean, with a guy like Randy Fichtner right now, how much is that going to alleviate some pressure off him? Because you really haven't had a quarterback coach since he stepped into the offensive coordinator role back, I want to say, in 2018. I mean, he was, starting to come from like the booth and starting to help out on the sidelines when there was some scuffling going on between Ben Roethlisberger and, of course, offensive coordinator at the time, Todd Haley. That's what you got to look at, and you got to ask yourself. I mean, I'm with you on that, but if you have a healthy Ben Roethlisberger right now, you see what you can do. The only thing is how you're going to talk Ben Roethlisberger and changing up this game plan. I know it's got to be really, a little bit like uncharted water for him after missing literally the whole season, basically. I mean, since week 2, he's never been hurt like this. And you got to wonder how comfortable is he going to feel with the talent finally. I mean, can he get in rhythm with there? Because I still hear reports, I hear people's opinion every now and then saying, get rid of the offseason. No, I'm not sure if I'm willing to go there right yet. I'm not sure if you can replicate some of the stuff what you do in training camp. But I mean, it still goes to show you right there how not only training camp, but preseason, you can't be playing scared. I mean, look at the Bears, for example. I mean, I'm in Chicago. I mean, you had them win the division in 2018. They ended, practically an 8-year playoff drought at that point. And look at what happened. They got bounced by the Eagles in the first round, and then they didn't really do much, preseason games with their starters. They kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit, if you ask me. And that was showing signs of that even during training camp, if you ask me. And I just feel like it was just a little bit too much of a relaxed team. And they just felt right there that they had enough where they didn't really have to expose their stars too much. Strongly disagree with that as we look at got Otis McCray right here giving a like here. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure seeing you every now and then, my friend. But like I said, that's the thing you gotta look at. It's so important to have these tune-ups. You want to get in rhythm. The game has evolved, bottom line, at the end of the day, no matter what people say. And I just don't want a chance getting in timing, because that's still going to be another knock against Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not going to forget the way he would still throw in tight windows at the end of the game, or having turnovers in the red zone, which is one of the most top leading players in 2018. And you just cannot be, like I said, you can't be messing around with that. So right now, let's go ahead and take a look at some tight ends right now, according to Walter Football. You can follow them on Twitter, as I mentioned in the description here, at Walter Football, as we look at it right now. Here's some of the tight end prospects we got going, and some of my personal top guys who I would like to see right now. If I were to pick, as far as top choices, I'd probably have to go with Colby Parkinson of Stanford and Albert Akua-Bunam of Missouri. And these are some guys right here I think the Steelers could look into. As far as being in tight end prospects, that they could definitely decide to look into. And here we go as we look at it. let's begin with the first guy I mentioned right now, which is Kobe Parkinson. Kobe Parkinson, right now, as we look at his career, I mean, he right now is the fourth ranked position according to Walter Football. Played in the Pac-12 with Stanford, and you got overall he compiled 1,171 yards receiving, got 12 touchdowns, and he didn't have any rushing yardage at all. But that was pretty impressive right there. Well, he has a career average of 13 and a half yards while catching. And you know where that ranks amongst all the prospects right there? That is right now, as we look at it, I want to say it's like sixth best out of like 10 prospects. So that's one guy to take a look at, as I just mentioned, Kobe Parkinson of Stanford. Now let's look at Albert Akuabunam of Missouri, as we look at him next. Albert, as they call him Albert O, that's one of the nicknames they gave him when playing in this. This is a guy who played 3 seasons right now. He has amassed 1,187 yards caught for the air, averaging 12.1 yards per catch. And then he also has 23 touchdowns caught in his 3-year collegiate career. I mean, which is pretty decent. Got Becky Fiskus joined here. Thank you very much, Becky. Always a pleasure seeing you, my friend, and keeping in touch as we are getting into this right now. And like I said, when you look at Kevin Colbert's career, I think it's very important right here that you try and find someone. Because I remember, too, when the Steelers, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, I think they tried signing, if I'm not mistaken, back in 2016, I want to say, as we look at it, one of the tight ends who did not work out, he had a concussion. He was rarely available at the point. I'm talking about none other than Ladarius Green, who came over from San Diego Chargers right here. I mean, and he was supposed to be the guy to fill in for Heath Miller. I mean, prior to that point, he had career high in yards caught for 429 yards, 4 touchdowns with the San Diego Chargers in 2015. And that was quite a shame because he had some good explosiveness when he was on the field. I mean, when you really break things down, but it was frustrating to hardly see him stay healthy. He didn't really come till late in the season. I want to say when he came and played for the Steelers, I mean, in his career, when he finally got his start, his very first game in the black and gold was in a losing effort against the Dallas Cowboys, where they lost 30-35. He was able to play up until the Cincinnati Bengals, and the most yards he ever caught in that 6-game stretch that he caught for the Steelers was 110 yards against the New York Giants. That was a late Sunday afternoon primetime game, and where the Steelers defeated the Giants 24-14. That was a decent matchup right there. But again, I think he was a little hesitant. He was going for submissions right there. He didn't seem like he was there psychologically, kind of like James Conner when he got hurt against the Thursday night game. Like I said, not guys' mental toughness, but physicality and availability are things you're always going to have to look at the end of the day when it comes to guys like this, and how it will be able to transition into longevity with a team when you're on here. I just feel right now, I mean, how much emphasis you guys put on tight end right now going into this year's draft, especially when you want to look at the combine right now. I'm telling you right now, it's definitely highly crucial right now you get someone for Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, is Zach Gentry going to be that guy? We have no idea. That's still plenty of time to find out. and it's only time will tell on that. But I like to think right now you have to wise up. You can't sleep on this. You want to be able to make sure you notch this. You nip this in the butt right now. Let's take a look at some other tight ends here in the draft class. I know we went over about a week ago. I brought up right now, this is according to Ed Bouchette. As you look at Cole Kmet, guy out of Notre Dame right there who had a 3-year college career, amassed 691 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. Not sure about him, but another guy, too, who's been real interesting, Thaddeus Moss, the son of Randy Moss, national champion with the LSU Tigers, who actually caught, right now, career high, 570 yards, 12.1 yards per average, 4 touchdowns, which is also a career high. I'll be wondering if you'd be looking at someone like a Moss be on the Steelers team, which I don't think would be a bad fit. And that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm focusing on some other guys that can help the cause for this position in the long run and see what will translate up to. Because I really believe right now what you have to look at is just, like I said, tight end still means something in today's football league, especially the National Football League. I don't think it's nothing you want to be mistaken on, thinking it's like a distinct position. No, it's definitely got a lot of value. It's always good to have a good security blanket when you have your quarterback out there, guy that can block. I mean, that's what the running backs are trying to do right now. They're trying to get some of their money in the market. Now let's get ready to hop into it right now as we look at fair or foul, as I promised. Fair or foul, I only got one topic for you guys today. We have seen the last of Artie Burns with the Steelers. I will have to say fair, especially when you're getting Drew Rosenhaus involved. I mean, basically, he's not really seeing himself clearly any big-time plans with the Steelers. I mean, I think right now he's going to try and maximize his value right now. I think Drew Rosenhaus could definitely do that, probably double it a little bit. But like I said, the only concern I have right now, I mean, his market value is at 1 year, $1.07 million. Can he probably get up to, like, say, $4 or $5 million? But the only problem is, I'm not sure if he's going to necessarily be a starting corner when he goes to another team. I mean, I'm not trying to talk negative about a guy, but let's face facts. I mean, does he just need a change of environment? Will he probably go somewhere over like the Patriots right there? I mean, is that still like a bad taste left in their mouth right there? But then again, the Patriots need some offense. And plus, we don't know right now for sure if Tom Brady is going to be leaning the return back to the Patriots. I mean, that would be the ultimate hope when the dust and smoke all settles and clears out. But again, that is still something we got to pay attention to right there. I mean, when you put everything under the scope, I just feel like right now, what teams, I mean, in the National Football League that can help where he can be utilized on defense and where he can help out. I mean, you look at some teams around who are needing, I mean, that coverage help. I mean, right there. And not only that, but can he be put on a contender too? That'd be another thing. I mean, like teams who could probably use a guy like Artie Burns when it comes to like defending the pass and like probably be a good playoff team, you probably have to look at right now. I mean, will he be a fit somewhere like, say, I don't know, maybe like the Oakland Raiders? I mean, Oakland Raiders right now, who are 25th in pass defense, 4,170 yards. I mean, I'm not sure about the Titans. I mean, they pretty much got a good, solid defense. I mean, blitzing. I mean, they've been doing decent pass coverage-wise. But then I also look at another team, like a situation right now, too, where you could probably help out. Maybe someone like the LA Rams or the Denver Broncos. I mean, those are some other guys you can look at, too, right there for his services, in my opinion. But I definitely feel right now, like I said, with Artie Burns, it was kind of like a wasted pick almost in some ways. And I hate to say it that way, but I mean, What else can you squeeze out of a guy right here? And that's going to do it pretty much for this edition here of the Men of Steel podcast. I want to say thank you for those of you taking the time to tune in real quick over here. Again, don't ever hesitate to call as a number to always dial up. It is 312-209-2232. Again, that's 312-209-2232. You can always follow me on Twitter at Pride Richie, at Men of Steel CJR, at OnDeckCSR, my Instagram live stream, Men of Steel Nation, that's all lowercase, YouTube channel, Men of Steel Podcast. And of course, you can also check me out on Mixcloud, Charles, The Prodigy, Richie. And for those of you tuning in, as always, leave it. Don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, Steelers, here we go. I gone.
Thank